The kind of songs you want to put on a mixtape or play on a boombox beneath someone's window because they say the things you want to say and express the feelings you want to share with someone but may not have the nerve to. Songs like, "You Make Me Feel Good," "The Way I Feel Inside," and "I Love You." Sincere, heartfelt gems delivered with unflinching, undeniable passion. Which brings me to their masterpiece, the astonishing album, Odyssey and Oracle. Ride, Your Brilliant Time of the Season, Care of Cell 44, and A Rose for Emily. A Rose for Emily this song is a miracle. It captures profound loneliness in the most tender way, and the hauntingly beautiful melody is so transcendent, it breaks our hearts, yet somehow still manages to lift us up. And Chris, your extraordinary songwriting contributions to this album. Brief Candles, Beechwood Park, and This Will Be Our Year. A song that will be played as long as lovers vow their love to one another. Lyrics like, "The warmth of your love's like the warmth from the sun, and don't let go of my hand, now the darkness is gone." And these words of comfort, "You don't have to worry, all your worried days are gone." I mean, who doesn't want to hear someone say that to them? I'm always happy to listen to Colin sing them to me, which brings me to Colin. Colin, your wondrous voice. There aren't enough adjectives. The tone and timbre of it, like silk and velvet and linen woven through each and every syllable you sing. And no one sings longing like you, my friend. Not to mention the sighs and the oohs. I'll just say it. Your voice is just plain sexy. But it's your fearless ability to emote at the risk of exposing your deepest emotions and vulnerabilities that is rare and brave and authentic and absolutely inspiring. My love affair with the Zombies may have started in the 60s, but the now 60-year-old me loves them still, even more, as I've had the great privilege of knowing what fine human beings they are, and the great fortune of seeing them perform many times, watching them inspire a whole new generation of music lovers. But that's the thing about music. It knows no boundaries, no borders. It travels straight to our hearts. I listen to the Zombies every day on those same palm-blind streets of my youth because, quite honestly, I need a little dose of their particular sonic alchemy, and it never fails to touch me, inspire me, excite and dazzle me, to make me feel less alone, to lift me when I'm down, and even when their music moves me with its poignancy to tears, it reminds me of what it is to be alive, to be human, and of the power of song and music to connect us all. So Colin, Rod, Chris, Hugh, and Paul, thank you for the music and the inspiration. This will be your year. It took a long time to come, and it's my great honor, a highlight of my life, to induct the Zombies into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Well, Susanna, thank you for such really, really gorgeous words. You know, to sit there and listen to that is really fantastic. But you know, on behalf of all the guys in the band, I can say that we're absolutely thrilled and delighted to have been elected to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. To be honest, it's felt honour enough to have been nominated 4 times in the last 5 years. But to have finally passed the winning post this time, fantastic. And you know, a wonderful coincidence to all of us standing here in Brooklyn, the site of our very first concert in America when we did the Marina Kaye show, Christmas Day 1964, 8 o'clock in the morning, playing with some of our heroes like Benny King, the Drifters, Patti LaBelle, who became a real friend and mentor at that time. But it's actually 50 years ago to this very day, the 29th of March, 1969, that Time of the Season reached the #1 position. When I actually received the phone call, I couldn't help my mind racing back to one magical day in 1956 that's always remained vivid in my memory, when my cousin, 4 years older than me, played me 2.5 minutes of music, which changed my life. That music was Elvis Presley singing Hound Dog. That cousin was Jim Rodford, who many of you will remember as the great bass player who later co-founded Argent with me, and for 15 years, the powerhouse driving the King's rhythm section. And of course, also until his tragic accidental death a year ago, playing fantastically energised bass with a version of the Zombies that Colin and I have loved touring with for the last 19 years. You know, for those who didn't live through the 50s, it's really hard to imagine the enormous cultural gulf which existed between England and America at that time. Elvis himself was a god, and in some of the first footage that we saw in England seemed to us like an alien super being from a distant universe. I was 11 years old, and I couldn't in any way imagine being part of the same world, but nevertheless couldn't wait to try to find some like-minded people to start playing the music with. And that chance came about in 1961. My God, how long ago was that? When 5 of us from adjoining schools excitedly got together to form a group. Paul Atkinson, Hugh Grundy, Colin Blunstone, Paul Arnold and myself, Rod Argent. Within a year, Paul Arnold had been replaced by Chris White, and that was it, we were off. These early years were something of a dream. By 1964, we got a recording contract with Decca, and then, unbelievably, by Christmas, found ourselves topping the US charts with our first record, She's Not There. This magic land, which only 8 years before had seemed so unimaginably remote and unconquerable, and even more unbelievably, something we didn't find out until many years later, Elvis actually had our records on his jukebox. Could not believe that when I found that out. In 1969, the Zombies had another massive #1, Time of the Season. But But we'd already broken up due to the lack of initial success with our final album, Odyssey and Oracle, an album that we put our hearts and soul into. This album was very dear to our hearts, as Chris and I had written all the songs on the record and for the first time produced our own material. It was to go on to have a huge story in its own right, and at this point we have to say thank you to Al Cooper, who believed in and fought for it from the very beginning. Without his help, it may have never been released, and we have to thank him massively, because it spawned a story that still continues 50 years later. It's been quite inspiring to us how many people have championed us from that moment on. Iconic artists like the dear late Tom Petty, like... Thank you, Tom. God bless you, mate. Like Paul Weller, who's been such a fantastic friend to us and to the album. Like Dave Grohl, like Susanna Hoff, and also many young bands, right up until the present day, Cage the Elephant, the Lemon Twigs, Portugal the Man. We owe so much to these people and have to thank them enormously. And I must also shout out to the wonderful touring band who've accompanied Colin and me over the last 19 years. Steve Rodford, Jim Rodford, Tom Toomey, Søren Kopp, and to our fab sound man, Dale Hansen. They've been a constant inspiration, and we've loved making albums of new material with them, the most recent of which actually made the Billboard Top 100 in 2015. I think it's largely due to their fantastically energised performances, actually, that so many people have sat up and taken notice of us in the last few years. On a personal note, I want to say a huge thank you to my wife, Kathy, who's been an unwavering and constant support to me over the last 52 years. 52 years. And to my dear son and daughter, Mark and Elisa. And lastly, what a joy to have been managed perfectly for the first time in our lives over the last 6 years or so by Chris Tuthill, Cindy De Silva and all the team at the Rocks Management. Fiona, Pam, Corey, our tour manager Mariah and our great publicists Melanie and Fiona. I just have to say, the story goes on. Thank you very much. Here's the old mucker, Colin, to say a few words.
I'd just like to say what a great honour it is for us to be with you all here tonight. It really is. My most sincere thanks to Susanna Hoff for her brilliant induction speech. And for all those who have supported us through the years, especially thinking of Bruce Solar from APA, Rick Krim, Paul Schaefer and Steve Van Zandt. Sincere thanks also to all the members of the Rock Hall who voted for us, to our loyal and tenacious fans who never wavered in their commitment to the fan vote. I'd also like to take a moment to remember the memory of two wonderful musicians who played with us, Paul Atkinson from the original band and Jim Rodford from the current lineup, in the hope that they are smiling down on us at this magical time. On a personal note, I'd also like to thank my family, my ever-supportive family, my wife Susie and my daughter Rosie, who stood by me through thick and thin. The Zombies first got together over 50 years ago, and with all bands we've been through many ups and many downs. But being with you here all tonight, this wonderful occasion is an absolute joy and of course makes it all very, very well. Rod's Wild. Thank you!
Thank everybody. I would like to thank the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, the Zombie family and friends, and America for this honour, and for the music. Music and songs are the bookmarks in all our lives. It's the language that binds us all together. The Zombies have been creative friends for over 56 years and still are. From the days when Rod and I shared a flat and wrote the songs for Odyssey and Oracle, we keep on creating. Personally, I would like to thank our other old flatmate, Terry Quirk, who did the original artwork for Odyssey and Oracle, Alec Blau, and my own family, Matt, Jamie, Sasha, Claire and Kat, and my creative partner and wife, Vivian, most of whom are here tonight. Thank you, all of you. And young musicians, get out there and keep writing. Let's have more music and songs in our lives. Thank you.
Wow, I'm absolutely ecstatic to be here saying a few thank yous. When I was at school with Rod and Paul, I was a member of the school's cadets marching band. I took up the drums after the bugle because the drums marched in front, and I thought the girls would be more likely to look at me. How vain was I? Little did I know that Rod spotted me and thought I had more sense of rhythm than anyone else. So one day he asked me